On the first day of pre-buds, 15 of the good dudes, all-star athletes with high scores on ASVAB and military visions, all dropped out. That's right, because they don't have no grit, but they had weak genes. They weren't made for the life. Welcome, folks. We got a banger today, man. I just came across this article. 3 or 4 viewers sent it to me. Absolutely amazing. I just wanted to tell you guys that I'm very passionate about your success. We build champions for life. It's not just a mantra, it's a lifestyle. And that's what's missed on a lot of people, man. And I just want to reiterate, I'm here to help all of you be successful. But if you're fixing to go down there and not do well, I'm going to tell you, because I'd be remiss if I sent you into the belly of the beast and you were unprepared. It's jailhouse rules, Karen. There is no snitching in jailhouse rules. You can absolutely 100% be prepared. But the problem is today's youth are not tough enough. They don't have any grit. They've never came off a computer. And so the only way they have a chance, they think, is to drug up. Okay? I'm telling you, the savages that I'm sending to training are not on drugs, and they not having any problems getting through buds. Please, Karen, understand that buds is kindergarten and the SEAL teams is the NFL. So if you can't make it through kindergarten, you got no business reporting to a SEAL team. So let's get into this article we have today, man. It's a crazy one because it's another mom after the Kyle Mullins deal. Go check out that video. I don't really want to come at mom that hard, but I'm going to come at her. Okay? So let's get started. We're just going to call mom Karen. I don't remember what her name is in the article, but we're going to call her Helicopter Karen. Okay? One of the things I'm going to tell you about, when I went to Buds, I called my mom and told her I got to San Diego. The next time I called my mom was when I graduated. Hey, come down here Thursday, we're graduating, okay? So for the fact of this mom reading all these books, trying to figure out how she's going to help her son be successful in SEAL training, the whole premise of my whole article review is, if you have to help your son be successful in SEAL training as a mom, then you didn't raise him the right way. By the time he gets to the program, ain't nobody can help him, including that man upstairs, God. Okay, let's get started. 3 things I wish I would have knew before my son went to Buds. A mother reflects on the toxic culture her son encountered at Navy SEAL training and the brutal lessons he brought home. That's right, she said brutal. We've talked about it a million times. It's not a place for gentrified people. Okay, they're calling her Laura. We'll call her Karen. Editor's note, Karen is a pseudonym. The author of The Mother is a U.S. Navy sailor and has requested anonymity to protect her son's military career. After Action Report has verified both her identity and her son's service. This post will remain free if you support the independent journalism, okay? Let's support it. Send them $1, all right? I spent months trying to understand and accept my son's dream to become a Navy SEAL. I said all the supporting things, even as I stayed up late reading books and listening to every SEAL podcast I could find. Man, I pretty much tell you, my mom didn't do any of that, okay? I thought I understood what he was getting into. There's no chance you can read anything and understand what he's getting into. There's no chance, ma'am. I didn't. Neither did he. He rang the bell halfway to Hell Week. So I don't know what that means. I don't know if that's halfway in Hell Week or halfway to Hell Week, 2 weeks in. But he rang the bell, okay? So he quit, announcing to everyone he had quit. And I've never been prouder of him. Of course, you're a mom. You don't want him to go into harm's way. You wanted him to fail. Now, I'm going to flip that around and say you raised him and you didn't want him to achieve his goals. So you pretty much just forecasted failure on him as a kid. I'm looking at this differently. This is for the moms scrolling through Navy Facebook groups and Reddit threads at 2 a.m. for the dads reading Breaking Buds over coffee. No, this article is for everybody that doesn't want to be successful. That's what this article is for. Okay? It's what I wish someone had told me before my son started down this road. It's information I searched for, but I could not find. I know now why when I tried to post a version of this essay in those online spaces, I got shut down. That's right, they shut you down. But if you came over to my channel, I got about 100 videos on the savagery of the SEAL community, the savagery of the Green Beret community, the savagery of the Ranger battalions, okay? I want everybody to understand we are making warriors. We're not making tea-toting, baristas. We're not making baristas at Starbucks. We ain't got people serving us coffee at Dutch Boy. We're making gunfighters, folks. Think back to the Wild West. Wyatt Earp, all them crazy dudes from the Wild West, they were gunfighters. Live fast, die young. Okay? That's the facts. You want to get in a job, that's what you're signing up for. Nothing has changed in warfare when it comes to the warrior in probably the last 5,000 years. Just call a spade a spade. Number one, it is not what he thinks it is. No, most people, no, it's not what they think it is. Because they think they're going to be a knight in shining armor, and pretty soon they realize they're going to be a grimy-ass killer, okay? My son's journey to Buds in 2025 began the day he watched the documentary starring retired Navy SEALs who helped rescue sex-trafficked children. He decided that was his calling. Okay, so if we're talking about the guy I think we're talking about, understand this. I was told by somebody that used to work for him that his whole nonprofit is a front. Imagine that. So he got enthralled to go join the Navy SEALs based on a Navy SEAL that's running a front for a nonprofit. Think about that. You watch the Wounded Warrior Foundation, which is a total front, and you decide you want to go be a dang Army Ranger. That don't make no sense. Okay, that don't make no sense to me, none at all. He was built for strength and endurance, and he felt he owed it to the world to use his skills to make the world safer, better, more beautiful than he found it. Okay, I want you to listen to that statement, Karen. Listen to that statement you just said. He wants to use his skills to make the world a safer, better, more beautiful place than he found it. Can you please explain to me how the pointy end of the sword does any one of those three things? It does not make the world safer. It does not make the world better. And it definitely does not make the world more beautiful. Okay? Just throwing that out there. Being a man meant to protect the weak and the innocent to him. Okay, I'm going to tell you this. Policemen are some of the dirtiest people we got in the country. And they protect the weak and the innocent. Okay? I don't know what to tell you. Like the whole thing to me is a pipe dream. None of this makes any sense to me. Everything you're telling me right now as a mother is telling me your son had no business going to SEAL training. He didn't even need to sign up. I would have told him this. He could have called me. I'd have shot him straight. Would have gave him the real talk. Okay. From the age of 15 to 18, he woke up around 4 every morning, most days, to work out, take an ice bath, study a second language before school. He ran with weighted vests, barefoot in the snow. He studied various breath-holding techniques to reduce pain and stay awake. Remember what I tell everybody on this channel. The more you do dumb stuff and prepare, like running in the snow with no shoes on, the more I'm liking to believe that you will never make it. Because people that do that stuff are trying to make up for this huge hole of grit that they don't have. They look in their bag and they see 2 grains of sand in the bag and they think I'm going to do all this stuff and it's going to make me more grittier, but it doesn't. It doesn't make you grittier. Go get a construction job, cement job. Those jobs make you gritty. Get up in the morning at 4 a.m. and taking an ice bath and running in no... Come on, man. What are we talking about here? Okay. He studied various breath-holding techniques to reduce pain and stay awake. He fasted. He deprived himself of sleep. He swam and trained in the water every day. He hunted. He fished. He became proficient with weapons. He went to wilderness camping alone for several days at a time. Okay? Ain't no way he gonna make it. Just telling you right now, ain't no way he gonna make it. Should have joined a wrestling team. He believed with his whole being that when he got to Buds, he would be joined by young men motivated, principled as he was. He could not have been more wrong. Correct. There are a bunch of dick-slinging, grimy-ass dudes at Buds that got a ton of grit, hella messed up family home, and childhood trauma at 95%. Think about those type of people. They ain't carrying swords and crosses with them into combat, okay? They ain't the Crusaders. They damn Navy SEALs. We did not know that it was a brand and not a branch, okay? Well, yeah, it's a brand. Yes, ma'am, it's a brand. And no, it's not a branch. It's 2,500 dudes in the military in a small little job called the Navy SEALs. The image of the brand sells an elite force comprised of the country's finest young men, driven by integrity, courage, patriotism, values to compel a willingness to offer one's life in defense of innocence. Okay, let me tell you something. Integrity, we lie, cheat, and steal. Okay, courage, there's a lot of that. Patriotism, there is a lot of that when it comes time to need patriotism. And a willingness to offer one life in defense of innocence. No, It's the willingness to take another life in the defense of innocence. Understand that? The willingness to take another life in innocence. I'm not trying to give my life up for shit. I'm taking as many lives as I can. What's the community reward? What's the community rewards is selfishness, steroids, brutality, drunkenness, anger, cheating, hated, adultery, and above all else, ego. Absolutely, that's right. Because them dudes could be dead tomorrow. Now, she goes on and on about this drugs and steroid use. I'm going to say that's absolutely garbage, okay? Your son wasn't prepared. They knew he wasn't prepared, and they tried to get him on the sauce so that he could be successful, okay? Wrong answer. No one needs to take drugs to graduate from SEAL training. No one. Why? How do I know that? Because I got 7 dudes that graduated in the last probably 5 months, and not one of them dudes was on anything, okay? They were, however, massively prepared with the Navy SEAL PDF that I gave them and the Navy SEAL Masterclass, which has everything in there you need to be successful. It teaches you how to prepare. Everybody is cheating. Absolutely. Everybody is drunk for the most part. Brutality at its absolute must. Absolute must brutality. Yes. Yes, all of this, yes. To say it was a toxic environment was an understatement. Yes, it is a very toxic environment. The thing my son wanted so badly, the thing he sacrificed so much for didn't exist. No, it does not exist. In his first call home, he said, "I'm not sure I fit in here, Mom. These are not good people." No, they are not. They are not good dudes. They grimy as shit. It would take time to understand what he meant. He was saying that his fellow trainees were seeking dominance and influence at any cost. They were seeking the kind of rock star status that our culture has rewarded our SEALs. They doubt they would define it that way, but I believe it's true. I think some of them saw the Trident as a gateway to fame and power, as well as a world of book deals, podcasts, and brand energy drinks. Okay, well, I can tell you this. If that's why you show up to SEAL training, you ain't gonna make it, okay? Just telling you that. So whatever you're trying to sell, Karen, I ain't buying it. I ain't buying it, Karen. Cats ain't going to buzz. They had that idea, but they don't last. They quit. It wasn't just my son that saw it. On the first day of pre-buds, 15 of the good dudes, all-star athletes with high scores on ASVAB and military visions, all dropped out. That's right, because they don't have no grit. And I would use the P word, but this is the new me. I'm working on my YouTube algorithm so more people will listen to this awesome video, okay? But they had weak genes. They weren't made for the life. The life ain't made for everybody. Everybody thinks they're made for that life. Everybody is a gangster until it's time to do gangster stuff. And then they realize they ain't that gangster. This is no different. Everybody thinks they're a Navy SEAL when they show up to training. And Navy SEAL training reminds them that they ain't that man. And then they go home. So that's not surprising. 15 people drop out, no big deal. They would say, "I don't belong here. This isn't what I thought it was." Of course not. You a little gentrified beta male. You ain't gonna make it. Not gonna happen. Of course the training was hard. It was more than that. Dominating the environment were rabid egomaniacs vying to win at all costs. It was an economy whose currency was hostility and steroids. Karen, I'm not going to say steroids is there, yes, but let's not blame it on the drugs, okay? It's just a bunch of bad dudes getting ready to do bad things. In this economy, my son was bankrupt. Well, I could have told you that from your original statements. Bankrupt. Actually, he wasn't even bankrupt. He was in debt by like $20 billion. There's a difference. I guess you could be bankrupt and in debt by $20 million. Yeah, okay, so he was bankrupt as hell. And ultimately, when he rang the bell, it was largely because the idea serving with these men was more disparaging than the anticipation of Hell Week or choosing another job. No, he quit. He quit because he didn't have what it took. Okay, he had weak genes, he wasn't tough, he had no grit, and he quit, Aaron. Okay, that's why he left. He was not willing to pay the price of sacrifice that Navy SEAL training requires to get the opportunity to do the job. While my son was still in buds, I was trying to encourage him to stay. I was given this statement from a former team guy. Remind him that he is not the exception. And he is very probably does not want to be a SEAL more than he wants integrity and sound mind. Because the man who tries to have all three usually loses. And they're all damn hard to get back on to. Okay? That's right. You can't have integrity and a sound mind in this job. You're going to have to do is a dirty job. You know, my man Danny Rowe, whatever, Death Row, that dude doing dirty jobs, he should have did this right here, dirty jobs, okay? Kangaroo Court was the rule of law at Buds, absolutely. If your son sucked, they gonna get rid of him, okay? At first, it felt like chaos, random cruelty, unchecked aggression. But then I learned it wasn't random at all. Oh my God, imagine that. During my son's second week, while he was in, that's a big ass word. I don't even know what the hell that word is. While he was validating about whether to keep trying or not. Okay. While he was trying to figure out if he wanted to quit or not, about whether to keep trying or leave, I spoke to a woman who had been married to a SEAL, who had served as a Buds instructor. She's helped me understand what was going on. Ma'am, I'm going to go back to this, Karen. I'm sorry, but you need to land your helicopter, get out, don't ever throw the keys in the front seat and never get back in it. Because your young man is a grown man and you're doing nothing but hurting him with these statements. Why did you have to understand what was going on at Buds? You can't help your son. Oh, that's right. You think you're a mom, you can help your son. I'm sorry. You should have helped him when he was 6 years old, made him chop wood, do hard stuff, lay concrete, made him cut that grass, okay? I'm not being critical. I'm just telling you what I see. The instructors and cadre depend on the candidates making their second attempts passing Buds to push the first-timers out of the pipeline. She called these second-timers the Mafia. That's right. The Mafia is real, okay? And it ain't just second-timers. It's also kick-ass first-timers. Hell, I had a Mafia dude in my class holding PT in PTARR ramp up because he wanted to get rid of a bunch of folks. You know what happened? He got rid of all them dudes. You know what I said as a class OIC? That's fine. If they ain't tough enough to deal with that shit, they ain't tough enough to be here. Okay? I got beat every day. I didn't give a shit. I ate it, okay? Because either you got it or you don't. There ain't no faking it. The Mafia tripped or threw guys to the ground during runs and other training evolutions. They threw punches under boats when the instructors weren't looking. Or maybe they were. The instructors don't give a shit. Right now in training, they care a little bit. But for the most part, hey, I got a couple fights at Buzz. It wasn't no big deal. That's just part of it. You got a bunch of alpha males around. You're going to fight. That's just how life is. That's what the food chain looks like at the top of the food chain, Karen. Violence is involved, Karen. That's how you settle disputes with a bunch of alphas in the same room. Okay? I know that's not politically correct to say in 2025. I know we're trying to gentrify the nation, but these are Navy SEALs, Karen. We're talking about making Navy SEALs, Green Berets, Army Rangers, the tip of the spear. Guys that are out there with no pants on, with their junk hanging out, doing bad things for the country. Okay, notice I didn't say good things, Karen. All right. They would mess with, steal essential equipment. The Mafia screamed at other trainees, telling them they were a liability to the boat crew. They trashed the young candidates, telling everybody else what turds they were. They threatened to fine them if they didn't ring the bell. Okay, let me tell you something. If you're a good-ass dude and you putting out in Buds, ain't nobody saying nothing to you. Okay? Nothing. Now, I've lost a couple dudes over the years. I had a dude that got beat up under a boat and went and quit. It's probably the best thing to happen to him because he wasn't made for the life, Karen. Karen, we trying to protect the people in the community from sending them a turd burglar who is going to cause problems and get crushed out there. Okay? All right. I wish my son had looked up the words Kangaroo Court and taken time to understand what it would be, that it would be the rule of law as time of Buds. Aaron, here's what I'm going to tell you. I've sent a number of people to Buds, and sometimes you just got to bust a dude in the face to get him to understand your point. Either that, or you got to put out harder so they don't say you're a liability under the boat. The Mafia has its own selection process. They have spent 2 or 3 years preparing for their second go-around at Buds. They usually follow a workout routine designed by retired Navy SEALs with dollars. Well, Karen, I'm here to tell you, most of the people that follow my routine don't even make a second attempt at Buds because they kill it the first time. So how about we just get on a good-ass program and we go kill it and we show up and murder it? I got some dudes right now, they murdering it, Karen. One dude told me he was highly depressed with the amount of stuff he did at Buds. That's what he said to me. I was depressed, Jake. It was not what I thought it would be. I thought it would be harder. So, Karen, just understand this. Your son was below the standard. Therefore, it was probably a good. Start some type of undetectable performance-enhancing drugs, and they are screened before being allowed back into training. Come on, man. Come on. We talking about drug use. You don't need drug use to go to Buds, Karen. Stop playing this up. The screening isn't only physical. If you're going to be a part of the SEAL teams, the SEALs need to know you can keep your secrets. 100%. Why do the SEALs hate me? I filed a grievance. Absolutely. It's jailhouse rules, Karen. There is no snitching in jailhouse rule, okay? And I understand it. I understand why. You go down range and you shoot the wrong person, you don't want to get persecuted for it. That shit happens. Fog of war is nasty. Bad things are going to happen. There's no better way to ensure that you keep your head down, your mouth shut for them to have dirt on you. That's right, dirt. You know that you are just morally ambiguous as they are. Absolutely. And if you aren't, they just can't be certain. You're not welcome. Look, Karen, I got hazed all the time for not drinking. Okay? But I'm a wild dude, so I fit in just fine. Other than the fact that I was black. That's what they are screening for. Morality, ambiguity. Absolutely. The lack of conscience. Or at the very least, a willingness to lack a conscience. Willingness to lack a conscience. Absolutely. It's a dirty ass job. They sum it up as dirt is good. Yes, it is, Karen. You know why? Because you can't imagine the dirty part of the job. For a guy like my son, a kid with a conscience and a strong sense of right and wrong, the teams were really never truly going to be an option. Yeah. From your opening statements, I could have told you that. You might want to go check out sewing, or maybe a cook, or maybe a barista at Starbucks is more suited for your son. I'll say it again. I'm proud of my son for ringing the bell. I'm sure you are, man. You raised him. You raised the quitter. So now you're happy he quit. What you think about that a little bit, Karen? Right? I'm not ever happy my sons quit anything. Matter of fact, my sons ain't quitting nothing. I'm sure that at some point they will quit something in their life. But I'm telling you right now, I had a son talk to me about quitting the other day. I told him he ain't got no choice to quit. He can't quit. Ain't an option in the Zweig family. Okay, so think about this. I'm going back to how you raised your son. Performance enhancing drugs are the real test. Complete BS, Karen. My son's saying this was the first lie he was told. If you crush the physical standards, you're good to go. The rest is just mental. My son crushed the PT scores before he left for boot camp. What's crushed, Karen? I want to know the actual numbers. Did he really crush them? Was he down at 9-minute mile and a half and a 9-minute swim? Did he do that? Was he swimming a 75-minute 2-mile? I don't think so, Karen. I don't think so. He first shot every test, meaning he passed the swims, runs, and obstacle courses on his first attempt. Okay, just telling you, easy day. But he confessed on day one that he wasn't physically prepared for what the program demanded. Didn't prepare. You either prepare physically or you get your head cut off. That's just how it is, Karen. It ain't a nice place to be. It's going to expose you. And if you don't have a backpack full of grit, it don't matter. You ain't going to make it. Okay, you ain't going to make it. We encouraged him to keep trying. Please keep trying, little Jimmy. Little Jimmy, please. Come on, man. That place eats little Jimmy's for dinner. When he failed or fell out, they would drop him. But that was on the instructors. All he had to do was not ring the bell, right? Nope, that ain't all you got to do, okay? You actually got to win. What I didn't understand was that the deck was stacked against him. The deck ain't stacked. Everybody going through the same training. If they using drugs and they running faster, it don't matter. The standard is still the same, Karen. 32-minute 4-mile, 85-minute 2-mile swim, 10-minute O course. The standard doesn't matter. If people are running faster in your class, it doesn't affect you at all. So stop trying to make it seem like all these dudes doing all this sauce were hurting your son. The old line about buds, if you ain't treating, you ain't trying, is 100% true. Yes, it is. It's not a joke or euphemism. They are watching to see if you will cheat. And if you don't, it will not fare well with you. Okay, absolutely. The guys who conquered buds and secured Hell Week are most certainly some of the kinds of performance are on some kind of performance enhancing drugs. Karen, just be quiet. I know you want to blame it on some other shit other than the fact that you raised some wussy, okay? But no, that's not most of them are on, okay? They're not. Almost certain are on some. No. Stop putting that bad juju into this article. It not only makes them stronger, but it also boosts their endurance and they can recover much faster from injuries and fatigue. The Mafia gets injected on Saturday or Sunday and returns to training on Monday, feeling like Captain America. Hell, Karen, I returned every Monday feeling like Captain America. Actually, I'm going to tell you the truth. It really wasn't that bad on me. If I could have ran and swam when I first got there, I would have crushed that place. It wasn't no harder than Division I wrestling, Karen. Okay, and I went unprepared. If they start losing steam towards the end of the week, it doesn't matter. Because they'll just get a refuel on the weekend. You know what, Karen? You know we went on Friday nights? We went to Outback Steakhouse. You know what I ate? A whole Drover's platter. Used to be big-ass Drover's platter. You know what else I'd eat? 2 big sweet potatoes. Okay? You know what I ate in the morning on Saturday morning? I went to Island Pasta, had a big bowl of pasta. You know what I ate at night? Another big bowl of pasta. I ate a big bowl of pasta on Sunday. We normally started around noon on Sunday. I hit that chow hall Sunday night with the boys, and then we were rolling for the week. Aaron, this ain't no mysticism. This ain't no magic. Everybody ain't shooting up. It ain't no drug-fueled, crazy place. Are there drugs there? Absolutely, okay? But let me say this. It had nothing to do with your son's success. Your son said it himself. He wasn't prepared, okay? He wasn't prepared. So put it on your son. Stop putting it on the training program. Training program hasn't changed in 35 years, okay? Just stop. My son speculates that maybe two of the dozen or so candidates that made it through Hell Week out of the initial class of more than 240 were not on PEDs. And some of those two, and one of those two was hospitalized before Hell Week was over. Okay, great. It's true. Naval Special Warfare now tests for performance-enhancing drugs. Drop someone out if their testosterone levels are too high. But don't be fooled. The Mafia has it down to a science. Let me tell you something, Karen. The NFL has it down to a science. The MLB has it down to a science. These kids don't have it down to a science, okay? I'm just telling you. They know when their tests are coming, what type of test is being used. The test tells them what substance are screened for and how sensitive detection is. Come on, Karen. Come on, Karen. You stretching it. During one of my son's briefings in pre-buzz, they were coached on the importance of reading between the lines. That's right. They're going to tell you shit, but you got to read between the lines. You know why that is? Because there's a lot of times when you out there doing work and it ain't no clear-cut answer. The next briefing was about medical enhancements and how this was not the time in their careers for such things. The briefer also mentioned that which doctors and clinics not to visit if they want performance-enhancing drugs, because that's where the team guys go, and they would find out about it 100%. I'm not saying this is a necessity, a bad thing. Maybe these drugs are necessary to meet the demanding physical standards expected of SEALs. No, it's not. Legalize it, normalize it, talk about it, regulate it for their safety. But could we stop lying about it, because our sons are showing up thinking they can be competitive without them, and it's killing some of them literally. Hey, listen, Karen. Hey, let me tell you something. You can absolutely 100% be prepared, but the problem is today's youth are not tough enough. They don't have any grit. They've never came off a computer, and so the only way they have a chance, they think, is to drug up. Okay, I'm telling you, the savages that I'm sending to training are not on drugs, and they not having any problems getting through buds. Please, Karen, understand that buds is kindergarten and the SEAL teams is the NFL. So if you can't make it through kindergarten, you got no business reporting to a SEAL team. Under the logs and boats, the Mafia guys would tell my son he was a liability and he was going to get somebody hurt. And they were right. Someone did get hurt. Him. Imagine that. They calling it like they see it. He going to get somebody hurt. Got himself hurt. You know what happened when I went to training? You could tell who was going to get hurt. We had this dude fall off the slide for life 3 times. You know what happened after he fell off the first time? I said, man, he gonna fall off it again. Okay? I want you to understand, Karen, it's not happening in some fucking jar where no one knows what's going on. There's been 70 years of experience in buds. You can see the quitters from a mile away. You can see the guys that don't have what it takes a mile away. Can't always tell the guys that'll make it, but you can always tell the guys that won't. Okay? Understand that, Karen. You in this article trying to defend your son's decision to quit. Think about that, Karen. Think about that. It's still unclear exactly what the nature of his injuries was, but his leg is still not the same. So I'm just going to tell you this, Karen. Most guys don't recover from buds for 2 years after going, just so you understand. The buds medical department, despite all the promised reforms following the death of trainee Kyle Mullins, is not absolutely had weak genes, bro. We have a big series on Kyle Mullins. I'll put the link up here. You guys can go check all that out. You know, it was a bad deal. I'm gonna retract my weak gene statement. Although he was doing a bunch of performance enhancing drugs, he should not have passed away because his blood oxygen level was 84, and the instructors should have took him to the hospital, but they didn't. This is seriously failing trainees. When my son was told the buds doctor in week 2 that he could not run because of the pain and immobility caused by his injury, the doctor told him, I hope you can limp fast. Okay, Karen, I had a dude in my class with a broken ankle for 6 weeks. You know what he did? He limped fast. Okay, Karen? So nothing new. Broken bones are not abnormal at SEAL training. Okay? So I know you wanted your son to go to some righteous ass fucking prep school in goddamn Connecticut with a bunch of rich ass snotty kids, but this ain't that. This is the home of the wayward soldier, The beaten kid, the kid that was touched as a kid, the kid that's been through hell and back. Just remember, 95% of the kids have childhood trauma at the highest levels. That's who goes in the United States Special Forces, Karen. The moment that crystallized something for him, it just wasn't his body that had hit a limit. It was his belief in the system. Oh, the system is against me, little Jimmy. My son can accept that he was no way ready for buds. He's remarkable and humble about this fact, which surprised me more than a little. More than anything, he felt betrayed because he had been lied to. He exceeded all of the physical standards he was told that he needed to meet. Like I said before, he exceeded all of the physical standards. Okay, let me tell you, the physical standards will not get you through buds. If you think you can show up and be running and swimming them slow-ass times, there ain't no chance you're going to make it. Why was he and countless others allowed to participate in something that he was clearly not qualified for? Needs of the Navy. Somebody got to chip that paint, Karen. Yo, doggy! Mess crank. You've likely heard about buds duds filling the jobs no one wants. It's not a joke. It's not a joke. Oh my God. Somebody has to do these jobs. Why not the top athletes, the highly motivated kids with the brightest and toughest in our country has to offer? Okay, so first of all, clearly they're not the brightest and they definitely ain't the toughest, because the toughest dudes are in training still, Karen. Just so we're clear. Don't get angry about it. It's great business and marketing move by the Navy. Absolutely. That's the part no one explains. The system isn't broken. It's working exactly as it's intended. It's a selection process. I just wish my son had known the actual criteria for that selection, because he certainly didn't. It isn't in class 234, Breaking Buds, or any of the other promotional materials. It's also not in the recruiting office or in the podcast. Everywhere. You have to be a gritty SOB to get through training. Yes, Karen, it's everywhere. It's not called the hardest military training in the world because it's easy, Karen. Come on, man. Like, stop pointing the finger at everybody but your son. It's your son's fault. Really, it's your fault because you raised him. So put the onus on you. I failed my son as a mom. Really, I'm going to ask the question, where's his dad at? Where's his dad at? Because a woman can't raise a soldier. A woman can't raise a man. It's not possible. The irony of buds, it taught him more than betrayal, his expectations, than by fulfilling them. It wasn't all negative. I promised my son I would tell you this. He doesn't regret it. The lessons he learned could not have been taught anywhere else but Coronado. The paradigm shift only came when his eyes were opened, seeing the brutality in the place of the brotherhood. Those are the things he won't forget. Maybe this essay won't change minds, but it's my hope that it will help somebody like your son be more prepared for what's coming. If you're worried that he might not be ready, talk him out of it. Okay, let me tell you something, Mom. Karen, that right there is the life drop, mic drop sentence of the century. Talk your son out of his dreams. That right there is the epitome of raising a quitter. Okay, think about that. You just put the cherry on top of the article. Okay, talk him out of it. If he actually got what it takes, you won't be able to stop him. So give it your best shot. Try to make my son a quitter. Talk him out of his dreams instead of preparing him to face fucking demons and dragons. Okay? And if he still decides to try, please warn him on how deafening loud that bell is when he rings it. God, it's so scary. Fair winds and following seas, Karen. Hey, awesome article, Karen. I really appreciate you coming out with all that fuel for the fire. Reiterates everything I've been saying. Hey, man, listen. You guys want to go out there to Buds, reach out, get the Navy SEAL PDF. You going to Army Ranger training, Green Berets, any of that stuff, reach out. We got the Army Ranger. You going to Marsoc Marines, we got that too. Listen, if you're trying to fly, come over here. We made about 300 pilots, man. We killing it, okay? But understand this, We Build Champions for Life is a real deal. You got to be a real dude. You got to work your butt off and persistently practice to be the best. And understand this, quitters are not welcome.